Just north of the city of Barcelona, about an hour-and-a-half ride by regional rail, there lies a mountain with a serrated top, like the blade of a carpenter's saw, earning it the nickname Montserrat. According to tradition, long ago, a group of children were playing on the mountain when they saw a light descending from heaven. As it fell to earth, they could hear the songs of angels, and their hearts were filled with joy. The children ran to tell their parents of the wonderful things they had seen. Of course, their parents were skeptical, but over the next month, more and more adults began seeing the same phenomenon. Finally, religious leaders of the area came to visit the mountain, and there, in a cave set into the mountain, was a statue of the Virgin Mary. Many believed the mountain to be a holy place, and before too long, a monastery was constructed, welcoming pilgrims and visitors to the mountaintop. As the world moved on and industrialized, the number of tourists coming to the mountain only grew, and the government of Catalonia needed a solution to navigate the treacherous terrain. Their solution was a railway. And so that brings us here to the Montserrat Rack Railway. I would have done the introduction on the platform, but there was only like 3 minutes until the train was leaving, and I still had to buy a ticket. But I did. They held up the train long enough, and now let's head up the hill. The Montserrat Rack Railway, or Aeri de Montserrat in Catalan, is a narrow-gauge railway that carries passengers between Catalonia's regional rail system and the Monastery of Montserrat. This first section, between the Monastery de Montserrat station of the FCG's R5 line and the village of Monastery, uses conventional adhesion to move the train. That is, the train simply sits on the track and it turns its wheels. During this section, we hit a top speed of 28 miles per hour. Now comes the fun part. After Monastery Villa station, the train switches into cog railway mode, meaning a gear in between the train's wheels meshes with a series of bumps in the middle of the track, allowing the train to ascend grades of up to 15.6%. We slow down on this section, dropping back to only 18.6 miles per hour, but it's worth it to take in the beautiful views out the window. Interestingly, this is the second incarnation of the Montserrat Rack Railway. The original was opened in 1892, but closed in 1957 due to poor financials and an accident in 1953. In 2003, the line reopened and has been in operation ever since. While us Yanks might think of old historic trains when we hear mountain narrow gauge, these trains are only a couple decades old, manufactured by Stadler Rail in Switzerland. And here we are, at the top of Montserrat. And I gotta say, that was probably my single favorite tourist railroad experience anywhere ever. Just the sheer amount of engineering that it took to get up here from down there on a train boggles the mind. It's an amazing feat of railroading, amazing views, the train was comfortable, the crew was friendly. I 10 out of 10 recommend it. But that's not actually the only piece of mountain railroading up here. There's also funiculars. Our first ride is the Santa Cova funicular, which connects the monastery with a hiking trail to a shrine lower on the mountain. The funicular is made up of one long continuous curve, with a split in the middle for the two cars to pass each other. The track is 860 feet long, and it hits a grade of 56.7%. In normal service, only one car is usually in operation, with the other acting only as a counterweight. At the bottom, we follow a trail along the side of the mountain, past statues that represent the Stations of the Cross, to a chapel. How did kids in the 800s do this for fun? Maybe they were in better shape than I am.
This chapel, set into the side of the mountain, is built on the site of the legendary cave, and a replica of the original Virgin Mary statue sits in the site of the original. Back on the mountain, it's time to ride the Sant Joan funicular, the steepest funicular railway in Spain. With a track length of 1,650 feet and a maximum steepness of 65.2%, it carries passengers up to another hiking trail that sports gorgeous views. Unfortunately, by this point I'm quite tired and I have another train to catch, so it's time to head back down to the monastery and go for one last ride. The Aeri de Montserrat is a cable car that connects the monastery with a dedicated transfer station for FCG's Line 5. Running almost a mile, the car completes its journey in about 5 minutes. Overall, I highly recommend the Monastery of Montserrat if you're ever in Catalonia, if only to ride 3 different modes of mountain transit all in one place. As for me, I'm catching Line 5 back into Barcelona, but that's a story for another time.